Hey, good morning. Just woke up not too long ago because I am such a night owl. And the reason why I've started off with that today is because I was writing my dream down, and one of my spirit guys was like, "Do you remember, kind of like, do you remember why the nighttime is so important?" So my grandmother who helped raise me, Lenora actually, so that's my middle name, that's her first name, that's where Lenora's like came from. It's a play on words because the name references light, like the meaning of the name references light. But anyway, the irony in that is though, I remember being a kid and she would be like, nighttime is my time. Like the only way I got to stay up was if I was quiet, or if I, didn't really bother her, wasn't slamming toys around, stuff like that. And so it's huge because I hold nighttime so sacred. Nighttime is when a lot of times I'm more clear. I feel more at peace. The world feels calmer, even though that's, spiritually, that's when the world is just a lot happening. But that's where I feel calm and peaceful. In fact, being raised Christian, that's when I noticed there were certain connections or cycles. And sometimes I would be just wandering out at night, and I'd be like, "Wow, I started my period today. It's full moon." Like I consistently before birth control, I literally started my period the full moon for years. Now it still kind of flows with the moon, but not. I mean, obviously our cycles flow through the moon. You know what I mean? I don't start the first day of the full moon anymore. That's all I'm saying. But the reason why this relates to the morning check-in today is because the very first card that came up was, oh, and I'm using a Lightworker deck. The very first card that came up was Star Mother. How can you mother yourself? And so usually with this deck, I've read through the book. I'll just go ahead and do readings. And like a lot of times, if it comes out in reverse, I know a person is not nurturing themselves, or they're not grounded or holding themselves to certain standards, right? Or they're kind of breaking away. So like my next card was the initiation, rite of passage, crossing the threshold. This card, aside from the obvious, like the initiation, it talks about how sometimes life gets scary, or life gets dark, or sometimes you're entering in like unknown worlds, which is true when you're making changes in your life. Like sometimes you quit your job, God told you to quit your job, or your ancestors told you to quit your job, that they support you, and then you're like, but my finances, right? You're freaking out, you're trying not to freak out, but you're freaking out. And that's scary, right? But then when you are patient, when you just keep creating, keep producing, when you have fun, when you focus on your health, when you do these things, you make it to the other side and you're like, I don't even know why I was stressing, right? Like I literally told my team, just thank you, because quitting a manager position at a psych hospital, and I got a little nervous, and I went and took the hospital, the ED job, and then my team was like, we don't want you here, and I was like, but I want this job. And they were like, we don't want you here, but I was like, I want this job. Over time I saw like this ain't it either. I'm gonna stop being hard-headed. I was told to resign. I resigned. And aside from the other two positions that I've worked in, like doing the groups and being a spiritual advisor at a shop, I haven't had a full-time job, like a full-time other person's job, in a year now. Actually, February 1st will be the official year. So I turned in my resignation the first week of January. And then when I identified some reasons why I was leaving, I was walked out 2 weeks later, which I was warned through spirit in November before then, right? So saying that to say, I sat with my team and I was like, oh my gosh, it's been months. And I was so worried and I was so afraid that I was going to lose my place, or that I was going to lose my car, that I was going to lose my dog, right? And you took care of me. Like we took care of each other, right? So with that rite of passage, crossing that threshold, sometimes you do have to look up at a scary cave, right? Or sometimes you do have to make scary decisions to get the change that you want, which connects to that next card, the Lemuria, creating heaven on earth. And so, like I said, I went back through the book today. Because at first it was real quiet, like spirit was quiet. I was like, oh, y'all want me to do some research. But when I looked at it, at the book, it talks about how Lemuria was a place even before the Garden of Eden where we were all connected to nature. We were all connected to spirit. Everything was beautiful. There was harmony. There was teamwork. Now there are people who are rising up. Now this references that, and it's happening now, right? Where people, more and more people are rising up saying, we don't have to live this way. We don't have to be crabs in a barrel. We don't have to follow the system. We don't have to play into the rigid institutions and how they try to pin groups of people to get pin groups of people against each other, which is true because if people are divided, they can't fight me, right? Like, that's our system, right? If people are divided, they're so busy fighting each other and being divided, they're not going to rise together and challenge me. But there's a lot of us who are becoming more comfortable in our gifts and becoming more comfortable speaking up. There are a lot of us there are people who are having kids and their kids are just super, super, super ridiculous wise, right? So we all have a choice, right? We have a choice to lift each other up, help each other grow and connect with spirit and with nature. And it can happen in 100 ways. It doesn't have to be one-on-one. It doesn't have to be making videos. It could just be being a nice, decent human being. It could be just like playing with the elements or respecting the elements, right? So sorry, I went on a tangent. Basically saying you are important, you are special. Take that time, nurse those wounds, but remember you're not doing it alone with the Star Mother card. Like, you have a whole spirit team. I say spirit team because it's just so much easier, right? But if you work with ancestors, work with your ancestors. If you work with angels, work with angels. If Jesus is if it's Jesus, work with Jesus. Whoever. If you follow the Kemetic path, if you follow Hindu, if you follow, like, whatever keeps you grounded, whatever helps you thrive, allow the deities or the spirits or your team, right, to help you nurture those wounds so that way as you go through that rite of passage, it's not as scary. Like, it doesn't have to be scary, but also they're trying to get you ready for a big level up that's happening throughout the universe. Like, this isn't even just earth level work. I'm not going to unpack that here. This is not just earth level work. This is work way beyond us, way beyond this generation of people. It will impact generations to come, and you will see more and more because it's becoming like the worlds are becoming less and less separated. So just stay encouraged. Make the changes you want. You can do it. I love you.